Good evening, I'm Dan Bates. I am the Chamber President and CEO here at the Greater Hamilton Chamber, and we are thrilled to have you here tonight joining us at State of the City. I want to thank some people because without them, this whole event has been a huge partnership, and I hope they're in the room, but Bruce Wilson and Eileen Mack, I hope they're here in the room. There they are back there. She's waving her hand. I have to tell you, without those two people, they have worked tirelessly after hours and with us, getting this space ready for you, clearing the parking lot, and making sure that you have a really safe experience here on their property. They are really in charge of this construction zone. So Bruce Wilson and Eileen Mack, thank you very much. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. And they work with And Build, which is the company that is overseeing this construction here. I also want to thank some of our other great partners, and that is Scott Hoover, Jim Logan, Dan Moats, Bill Hudson, Rich Engel, Chris Hayes, Chris Markham, Chris Napier, Ken Rivera, Lieutenant Robinson, Mike Gurr, all city employees, the entire City of Hamilton Infrastructure Department, the Streets Department, the Police and Fire, and also Ron Harris from Aztec, who donated a lot of the equipment to clean up the space for tonight's event. And I also want to, a special thanks to Steve Walton from Sunbelt, who provided a lot of equipment to get ready for this event tonight also. And thanks to him, we have heaters as the temperature declines, and we will keep you as warm as possible thanks to him. So great, incredible team effort, and let's give all those people a hand. Thank you. I also want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for the Chamber, our Chamber sustaining sponsors, which is Barclays, Butler Tech, City of Hamilton, Community Design Alliance, First Financial Bank, Fort Hamilton Hospital, Mercy Health Fairfield Hospital, and U.S. Bank. Thank you. Now, our specific sponsors for this evening, if you came in the door and you missed the First Financial sign, you must be blind. So First Financial, Chris Motley is the market president for First Financial, and we really thank them for their sponsorship tonight to help with this event. They are our event sponsor. And in case you didn't notice, Fort Hamilton also has a presence here tonight. So the ambulance and all of their things over here on display. Ron Konovich, who is the president of Fort Hamilton Hospital, a big supporter of the Chamber. We love working with him, and a great supporter of the entire community. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Ron Konovich from Fort Hamilton Hospital.
Well, thank you and good evening. Dan knows how to throw a party, doesn't he? So I think a big hand of applause for Dan and his team in putting this together. It's not easy turning a warehouse into an event like this, so well done. So as Dan said, my name is Ron Konovich. I am president of Fort Hamilton Hospital. Fort Hamilton, as you know, is part of Kettering Health Network. With the addition of Troy Hospital, we are now a 9-hospital system with over 700 providers throughout the greater Dayton and Cincinnati area. We are excited to be the presenting sponsor here tonight. And as you came in, hopefully you were able to get a bag and a blanket. So that blanket is nice. As the sun goes down, you may be using that tonight. Remember that if you're cuddling under the blanket, we encourage coming together. So, but it is a family event, so let's keep it that way. Fort Hamilton is celebrating our 90th anniversary, 90 years in the community partnering with the Hamilton area. We are excited about that, and I think that deserves a round of applause. 90 years of award-winning care in your own town, and I think sometimes when you're around something, you don't realize what you have. So I wanted to share just a couple things with you tonight as we get into this evening's event. Leapfrog is a rating agency. They have rated Fort Hamilton Hospital an A. So go back to school and remember how the rating system goes, A, B, C, D, and F. I didn't see too many of those A's, but we as Fort Hamilton have received an A rating for our quality of care that we provide right here in your town. Another grading agency, Health Grades. We were rated in the top 5% of the country. So with over 6,000 hospitals across the country, we're in the top 250 plus hospitals right here in your community. That is how special what you have here in your backyard. For those of you who are lined up in the pizza and beer line, I have good news for you. We have one of the best cardiac programs around. So, as the state regulations go, they say door to balloon time is you should shoot for under 90 minutes. A lot of hospitals try to shoot for less. I can tell you that we, on average, for this past year, have averaged under 45 minutes. That means from the time you hit the front door until you have a catheter in your heart is 45 minutes or less. That is amazing. I put that up against any hospital in the area. And you got to remember that time is of the essence when it comes to strokes and heart attacks, because time is muscle when it comes to heart attacks. So very well done. I would like to introduce some members we have here. The lights are in my eyes, so I can't see you stand, but I'd like to ask for our orthopedic team to stand. So that is going to be Dr. Miliori, Dr. Scheidler, Dr. Marin, Dr. Foster, all the PAs, the athletic trainers. If you could just stand, wave your hand. This is, and I see in the back a couple hands, there we go. This is an amazing team of providers. I'm going to share something tonight that I'm not even sure they know, but we just received the Anthem Blue Distinction Center. What does that mean? Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield has identified our orthopedic team as being one of the best, and they try to steer their patients to our team to provide the best care and the best outcomes. So congratulations, guys. So Fort Hamilton, as we're growing with the city, it is a partnership. I really enjoy working with the city of Hamilton. We've got an amazing leadership team here, and the future is bright. I just want to mention a couple other things as we grow together. We are working with Spooky Nook as we are very excited about the opportunity of coming together, and as we finalize these plans, we will be unveiling how we will be working together, and so stay tuned for that. That is coming in the near future. We have added dozens of providers over the last year. So between neurology, orthopedics, cardiology, go down the list, primary care, we are really expanding access to care in Hamilton because this is what we need to keep our residents here closer to home. We've added a full-service comprehensive cancer center program. No need to go out of town anymore for radiation, for chemo, for any of your cancer care treatments. Inpatient rehab, we will be opening up a comprehensive acute inpatient rehab by the end of the year. So this is something that we haven't had in the past, and we're excited about that. And I know they said I only had a couple minutes, and I told them, what are you going to pull me off the stage? So lastly, I just wanted to mention, if Dr. Grody is here, I know if you could stand, wave your hand. He is our medical director for our trauma program. So we have just completed our provisional trauma survey, and your very own Fort Hamilton Hospital right here in town is becoming a trauma hospital. That is a big deal. So motor vehicle accidents, if you fall off the roof cleaning the gutters, whatever it may be, it is nice to have that level of care here, and it raises the level of care across the board. So we are excited about the growth that we're seeing, but more than that, we're excited about partnering with the city. There's a lot of growth everywhere you turn and a bright future for Hamilton. And so with that being said, I would like to introduce Mayor Pat Moeller. He needs no introduction, but I would like to call him a great leader, but also my friend. So if Pat can come to this podium. Thank you.
Well, good evening. I'm kind of losing my voice, so if I reach down to that great bottle of water below me, that's the reason why. So I'm at the 123rd anniversary dinner of the Second Baptist Church here in Hamilton. A visiting pastor says, "I will not speak very long. The mind cannot comprehend if the posterior cannot endure." I got it. I get it. But here are some of my observations, my thoughts over the past year. 7 words I like to say in public: Spooky Nook, 80 Acres, and Kirsch CPA Group. And it's so true. I'm asked every day what's going on, and I often say those 7 words. Spooky Nook, we are here. We are where vision is becoming a reality. Mike Zelkind of 80 Acres said recently, "We are getting the best technology in the world and smashing it together." I really like that phrase. Inside vertical farming, using 97% less water and growing produce at a rate 3 times faster. And folks, that is in Hamilton, Ohio. I love the phrase, I love the technology, I love the investment. Thank you very much, 80 Acres. Congratulations to John Kirsch, the tallest ever small businessman of the year. An impactful investment. Members of the Kirsch Group and the artist at Inside Out Studio created this artwork that I took a poor picture of, but it's called Infinite Opportunities, and that's in the hallway of the Kirsch building. What an appropriate title for both the disabled artist, the studio, and the Kirsch Group, representing both diversity and growth. During an impressive tour of the Influx facility earlier this year, I saw an employee wearing a t-shirt with that phrase, "Find a way or fade away." And that phrase could be a chapter title in a book about Hamilton's recent success. We have found a way. Influx, a part of the Procter & Gamble group of companies succeeding in Hamilton, and that's great. Bill Stein. Every year, I thank Bill Stein for how they continue to grow. And I have to mention, there are not just job opportunities there, but career opportunities. They're leaders in the community, they're role models for how to succeed at business, and they are truly all-stars. Now, Ron mentioned the 90th birthday, and we of course also wish him a 90th birthday. But there are 3 important developments for the Kettering Network this year. I listed them up there. New comprehensive cancer center, so it's a whole person cancer center, the medical oncology, the radiation oncology, as well as the breast cancer center. Also, the expanded primary care with a new center on Main Street. That's a big, big change out there on the Main Street. And we were very pleased to see that, as well as the groundbreaking in Oxford. Congratulations to Kettering on that. Workforce development. The state of Ohio does not grade where it should grade regarding the number of 2-year degrees, 4-year degrees, and technical certificates. Ohio ranks about average. But we all know that Hamilton is much better than average. And I want to see Hamilton and Butler County residents get the high-tech, the clean manufacturing, the green industry jobs that are going to be arriving in this area, as well as when those companies expand. It will take workforce development through education and training. Baden High School, think, achieve, serve, lead. Many of their recent graduates are at prestigious universities. The lessons from the Baden experience are at work all around us. The far left photo shows Baden students in Guatemala in a summer of service. And the far right photo pictures Baden students who made beds for the needy at Matandi Steel through the Sleep in Heavenly Peace program. Big Blue, on the move and improving. From the 5-star preschool program to the Cottage Credit Plus program. Recent graduates at Duke, Columbia, Yale, the military academies. Upper left are some of the motivated Hamilton City School District teachers. Lower left, that's Coach Mahan's football team that helped set up tables and tear down tables at the recent 17-strong bridge event. And on the right is Highland Elementary School Principal Ty Smallwood greeting students in the morning. Hamilton Community Foundation, building a better community through creative philanthropy, vision, and leadership. And that says a lot. And the Community Foundation remains our guardian angel. And a fine example is the Talent Attraction Program Scholarship. What a dynamic, innovative program. Live here, work here, get help paying down your student loans, and funded by the Community Foundation. Now, the photo on the left is a meet and greet day at the Fairwood Elementary School. Smiles, handshakes, fist bumps. What a great way to start the day, to start the school day. Now, the young man in orange to the left of me up there, he doesn't want to be a mayor. He wants to be a police officer, just like Rodney Wilson standing behind us. And I'm really pleased that Hamilton police officers are in our schools for many reasons. But it includes the building of a bridge of trust from our young people to the police officers. While it lasts a school year, it also lasts an entire year because those Hamilton police officers see those students all around town. The Hamilton Police Department has become a significant, positive part of our neighborhoods, our schools, and our successes. Hamilton Fire Department. At our neighborhood events, both police and fire vehicles are a big draw for our young people. And our public safety personnel do a great job representing our city. And that one photo to the left is Crawford Woods Elementary School, where there was a 17-strong event. And you'll hear me say that a lot tonight, 17 strong. On the right is an aerial view of the recent Laurel Avenue and Zimmerman fire. The Hamilton professional firefighters had a plan before that fire occurred on how to fight a fire at that location. That's an amazing piece of professionalism, being prepared before it ever happened, and it happened. But residents were evacuated, lives were saved, no injuries, and minimal damage to the surrounding area. For our police and fire, it's about training, and more training. It's also about planning, and more planning. And also, it's something I just heard today from our Chief Mark Mercer, firefighters and EMTs helped deliver another Hamiltonian today. They delivered a child today. So, part of the job. Okay, now, we hear a lot about the importance of infrastructure and all today. And we're lucky to have a Director of Infrastructure and Utilities, Jim Logan. He mentioned these three areas of items which indicate our modernization and resiliency. There's the Green Up Hydro improvements, where we switched to a digital system. The system has performed very well, and during all the sustained heat waves that we've had over the summer. But also, South Hamilton Crossing, North Hamilton Crossing, and intersection improvements. North Hamilton Crossing, we were able to use some of the leftover proceeds from South Hamilton Crossing to start some of the early drawings and discussions and where could it be for the North Hamilton Crossing project. Regarding the natural gas system, we earned a silver level SOAR designation, and only 25 of 750 members have achieved that silver level. What it means is system integrity, system improvement, employee safety, and workforce development. And I know our city professionals will organize some needed projects to send to Columbus to compete for state capital budget funding for that next funding cycle. I never thought about it much before, but Hamilton is a college town. I mean, we really are. Unique but important events occur on college campuses. And pictured here is a naturalization ceremony at Miami University Hamilton that occurred this summer. And if you can see close, you might see two young men holding the American flag, waving the American flag at their relatives while some patriotic music is being sung. So it is really a neat event to see, and they did earn that citizenship. Some of our other companies in town, they're on a hybrid. They install conveyors and do more than just that. But there's a lot of meaning to that company and where it's located. It's now located in an area of Lindenwold that needed a lift over on Bell Avenue. It's repurposing an old industrial building, and they believe in second chance hiring. And I think I heard the CEO, I think it was in the paper, said, by being here, we're making a statement. They're making a statement about location, how and where to build, and they have earned an impressive list of clients. And I got some photos today from our Economic Development Director, Jody Gunderson, showing that they're doing a lot of great improvements on that building. Our planning department is out front and behind the scenes, all at the same time. And they're definitely covering the bases. We have a great city team of professionals, including our planning department. The planning department, they do so many things that people just don't know about. They've instituted traditional neighborhood district zoning. There's more planned developments now, which means more quality developments. And they've started the Plan Hamilton initiative. And there's also strategic revitalization sessions that they have. So we've got a great city team. For the record, this is not your city team. These guys are from the movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? You may recall that movie. In the movie, they hold a vote to determine who would be their leader. George Clooney says, I should be your leader because I have the capacity for abstract thought. Well, you think about it a little bit, abstract thought can be harnessed, and that can lead to focused thought, which can then lead to concrete results. Vision to results. But let's get real again, workforce development. It's much talk about, and there's been some successes. I mean, clearly some successes around here. Easter Seals is making a difference, leading people to careers and livable wages. The 5th day experience of work after 4 days of class at Butler Tech program. I think that's just a great idea. The Butler Tech Aviation Exploration Pathway to Careers in Aviation. The Work Plus program, combining housing, studies, and a job while attending school. But the goal is an innovative workforce and development for current jobs and jobs of the future. But, you know, we can't forget about the past, where we have been. With the passing of Jim Blunt and Jim Irwin, one of our leading residents, historians, is now Tim Gillespie. And you might know Tim over at Graham Co. He is also in charge of the Hamilton History Depot. You know, how our city harnessed water power to power up machine companies, woolen mills, and paper mills should not be forgotten and should be inspiring. Hamilton has a fascinating history of making things, and you know, we still make things. We need to keep making things. But head over to Tim's place over there on Millville Avenue and walk and talk history with him. Another company, Kaivac Cleaning Systems, an international manufacturer of cleaning systems. Local workforce, many of them live in Lindenwold. It's located in the wall. They have a big focus on job retention, video training, and you can sense the dignity of work at that location. And also they have 16 patents, 100 employees, and it's just a fascinating company. Thank you, Bob Robinson and family. Okay, so where can you find students who care about their neighborhood, true community activists, a neighborhood artist turned community leader, teachers from our school district who volunteer to do crafts with young people, city employee volunteers, 3 city council members listening to residents, and Hamilton police officers also working with residents. And you also get to spend time with Frank Downey. It has to be a 17-strong event. And this photo is in the north end. 17 strong is actually damn strong. And I cursed, I apologize for that, but it is that strong. It is getting the job done. A Garfield Middle teacher named Jimmy Sizemore recently said, instead of just observing, he wanted to get out and do something. He organized over 26 Garfield teachers, some students, 17 strong volunteers, and some city folks to clean up the streets around Moser Park. And that was just last week. 50+ people he put together for that event. And I gotta say a special cheers to someone who's not here. Cheers to City Council member Kathy Klink, who was 17 strong before there was a 17 strong. Kathy Klink truly has a sense of place, the importance of place, the importance of our place. Love your block. Hamilton is one of the 10 cities to receive Cities of Service Love Your Block grants. The vistas that we have had have done a great job. Among other projects, there have been 2 home improvement work days featuring exterior home maintenance and repairs, as well as relationship building. And the locations this year were Armandale and the East End. And a shout out to Bob Batterson for volunteering, because people are becoming community leaders because of 17 Strong. And again, thanks to all the folks who put that 17 Strong together, including Brandon Sarber in the city. June 15th, 2019, dedication of Joe Nuxall Fields. North End Community League and L.J. Smith Park, with the great assistance of our amazing Parks Conservancy, opened up and invited Little Leaguers and residents all over the area to celebrate Joe Nuxall in the North End. And what's interesting is that many guests, Little Leaguers and coaches, had never been to the North End, but they wanted to come back to the North End and play again. And I hope this could be an annual event. Mr. Rounding Third and Heading for Home would have really loved this event this year. Excuse me. One of the best examples of neighborhood-driven series of discussions to improve a neighborhood occurred this year. SECA, led by Bob Harris, the City Planning Department, the Chamber of Commerce, SELF, and many others met at the BTW Community Center with citizens of the Second Ward. And the Mount University Planning Department was brought in to assist in creating a can-do plan. And some of the best meetings I've attended in the neighborhood have occurred as a result of that particular series. It became more than just big post-it notes on the wall, which sometimes get soon forgotten. The challenge is now to turn that plan that was created into some concrete improvements. So a big thank you to the Mount University Planning Department, but that's the corridor that was a focus. The Pershing Avenue and Central Avenue corridor, right is what it can be. Left is what it is, right is what it can be. Mixed use with locally owned retail, new drugstore, small restaurant with outdoor seating, crosswalk art, and what I would like to see would be some professional offices over in that area. But it's creating economic opportunity for our veterans, with our residents, with locally owned businesses. Why not? Okay, we got 2 special here, people who are special here. Congratulations to David Chalon and Debbie Howard. And I want to read to you a little bit about them, because this is an example of what's going on in our city. David Chalon came to the United States at the age of 3 to live with his aunt. He spoke fluent Italian and French with no English. David had an extreme fear of water as well. Through his participation in the preschool program, David was able to conquer the challenges. He learned to build relationships and to speak fluent English over a 2-year period. Through the Safety Around Water program and free swim lessons over 6 weeks, David was able to conquer his fear of water. He would only sit on the edge of the pool when he first got near water, but by the end of the session, David would jump off the edge into the pool with full confidence, and his mother eventually would have to drag him out from having so much fun. And Debbie Howard's also up in that picture with Sammy Broyles. Debbie Howard faced much adversity during her high school career that resulted in her in not finishing her diploma. Debbie also wanted to go to college, but could not see this as a reality without having her GED or her diploma. Debbie is a member of the BTW community and serves as a volunteer in various ways. Debbie was a participant in our Dawn 22 program. This program provides those who didn't receive their high school diploma an opportunity to obtain an official high school diploma. One of the wonderful things about this program is that the curriculum is set to the standards of the student's original graduation date. Debbie not only participated, but graduated with her high school diploma in 2019, and she enrolled at Miami University, Hamilton, the following semester. She was supported by her family, her teachers, and members of her BTW family. I'd like to bring him up front if I could at this point in time. David, can you come up here? All right, come on up here, man. You done. Thank you. Thank you. But there's an example of what we're doing here. Okay. Not to be forgotten, there are programs at the YWCA, such as Fierce Girls, Men of Honor, which creates leaders, creates positive relationships, helps young people with decision making in their academics. So thank you, Wendy Waters Cannell and the YWCA. All right, the only standing ovation that I remember in council occurred recently, and it involved a gentleman named Dr. Albert Miller at a diversity and inclusion presentation. He's a member of the Jewish faith. Dr. Miller escaped persecution and imprisonment in World War II by fleeing through 5 countries. He later served in the United States Army. Those in attendance at that city council meeting had to be affected when Dr. Miller said that the Holocaust took from our world what could have been world-changing doctors and scientists, scholars, and artists. On the right side is a sculpture called New Life Out of Ashes, Honor the Dead, and Warning to the Living. It's at the Fitness Center, and that was donated by Dr. Albert Miller and his wife. And I want to thank Dr. Miller for his message and his philanthropy. Something on a much lighter topic, at the Fitness Center this spring, there was an art exhibit about baseball, and it included the painting to your left. You may not recognize that guy, but that's Chris Sabo from the 1990 Reds World Series team. And there's an expression written down there. We got the rings, we got the money, we got everything. That was stated by Chris Sabo. I love that attitude. Fitness Center, a great forum and a great city partner. Okay. All right, to your left is a rescue dog named Trooper. He was abandoned, hit by a train, lost an eye, 2 legs. But despite those challenges, he has unconditional love for others. He's like a poster dog for animal neglect and animal abuse. Trooper's so popular, I think we need to make Hamilton a pet-friendly city and make him our poster dog. But to the right is Pastor Shack, and you may not be able to see it, but she's holding Trooper. Pastor Shack is a poster role model for unconditional love. Pastor Shack, her love for the community is amazing, and she is surrounded in that picture by her job mentoring class. Thank you, Pastor Shack, for being such a role model. Now, that photo is at Rotary Park. I gotta say happy 100th birthday to Rotary. But at that 100th celebration at the Fitness Center, Woody Fitton mentioned the word uncomfortable. And that really kind of struck me. Certain challenges should make us uncomfortable, but being uncomfortable should be the fuel to drive us to success. Okay, Hamilton pride is everywhere. Andrew Knabb, son of Councilmember Tim Knabb and Pam Knabb, is with the Hamilton flag at Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest mountain in Africa. But to the right, we've got Kenny Pendergast, son of Baden Principal Brian Pendergast and his wife Kathleen. So Kenny is with the Hamilton flag at the academically high-ranked university with a highly ranked football team, I might say, University of Notre Dame. And I gotta say, go Irish on that. Okay, I'm at the Reds game, and I see the Chick-fil-A cow mascot. And that's me begging a mascot to please put a restaurant in Hamilton. But there's one problem, mascots don't talk. So, we got through that okay, though. All right, Michael Folks, a local businessman, brought 3 students from Jamaica to the Hamilton area. Michael asked me to show them around the government buildings. These are very smart, serious young people. They're probably like in the 7th grade. We had a mock audience of citizens, and there were council members. They acted like council members. They voted in their own mayor amongst the 3 of them. Well, then we took these 3 young folks to Common Pleas Judge Greg Howard's courtroom, where we had a mock trial. And they were very serious young people until Judge Howard ordered me to take them to Flubs. So what you see is no one acting serious in that picture on the right because they were at Flubs. City of Character. Hamilton's a city of character. Recently, the YWCA hosted an event put on by the City of Character Committee where over 100 young people learned about good character and working together. And this photo shows 2 young people learning about working together. But I want to tell you about an event coming up for some very special people who are in the audience tonight. On November 14th at the Savannah Center, the Greater Cincinnati Regional Character Council will be recognizing Dave Ballou for a Lifetime Hero of Character Award. And I think Dave Ballou deserves definitely a round of applause for a lifetime of heroic character. The council is also recognizing that night as heroes of character Paul Toms, Tina Oso, and Carol Combs. Plus, there are 2 Garfield Middle students getting awards for being youth heroes of character. That's Briella Combs and Skylar Carlisle. And please see me or please see Steve Lippert of Hamilton Castor regarding that event. Workforce development just keeps popping up. We're doing a lot of things, but I've got some ideas up there about the needs and the return on investment. And I know there are some various employee resource programs out there, including SELF's resource program, to assist the needs of the worker to get through some of the challenges of life so they can still get to work, get the job done. Because there truly is a cost to training new workers. But the needs, there are some up there. Some could be transportation. Some are as simple as just maybe some better training in some math areas and the like. But what we could also do is I know lessen the benefit cliff. I know Congressman Warren Davidson is working on that. We could do virtual tours of companies so somebody on social media could see job opportunities and the type of jobs that are out there, as well as training opportunities. But the goal is if you get a job, you join the middle class. If you join the middle class, you can own a home. If you can own a home, you strengthen a neighborhood and just break the cycle that's out there. Faith-based organizations are so important. So much good is occurring inside those houses of faith, but so many things that are good occur outside by those houses of faith, including like the Family Promise Program. On the left is Pilgrim Baptist Church, ringing a bell, celebrating a church anniversary. To the right is the Presbyterian Church, celebrating their home. And I gotta admit, the Presbyterian Church looks great every single day of the year. It really does. And happy 200th birthday to the First United Methodist Church. Speaking of faith-based organizations, what does a faith-based organization plus a landlord plus a recovering Butler County citizen equal? Well, it can equal a start to what needs to be, I think, county-wide recovery housing. Fairfield City Council member Bill Wieste has started a group to discuss that. I think if we had some of those 3 factors together, we'd have a financial safety net, safe housing, and keep people on track. Because the chance of succeeding, if you're trying to beat an addiction, recovery housing is important. No matter what challenge we face, we will not throw away our shot. Now is the time to take this city to the next level. I truly believe that. That was a special day in Hamilton High School fine arts students with the actors, the artists from the Hamilton the Musical. Takeaways, and that's an Ohio State football player too, which is also very good. I am not the smartest person in the room, and if I am, Hamilton, we got a problem, but I do see these being some takeaways from my few minutes up here. We have great people and great companies in this town, and that's very obvious. Continuing workforce development is crucial. We need to focus on housing of all types, whether it's traditional housing, whether it's suburb, whether it's recovery. And we need to support social service agencies and 17 strong. But even when I face a day in the city when it's 2 steps up and 2 steps back, there's always one person that will encourage me. Mr. Red, hey, he's always there with a smile, and he does not talk very much either. Doesn't talk at all. So, I've got a special presentation. I am done. Sorry it took a while. But I would like to have some folks come up here. Tim Knabb, council member, Dan Bates from the Chamber of Commerce, city employee Ken Callahan, and all the folks from the American Legion, and of course Chris Haynes, who is a leader in the American Legion. While they come up here, we're going to do a check presentation. I want to show you something else. That was Memorial Day 2019. What a great day to have veterans meet young people. That's Art Solomon and Min Turner from World War II with Cullen Gantenberg, Baden graduate who spoke at the Memorial Day ceremony. Now, if I could have is there a microphone I could borrow real quick for this? Or try to take this one off? I'm not sure what I should do. I don't want to upset anything up here. It could only cause a problem. Thank you. All right. That's a good picture. I should even be in this. Okay. A gentleman named Chris Haynes on my far right is with the American Legion. He is a former the VFW. You're not in the American Legion? He's a former VFW statewide commander, but he's a friend of the American Legion. All these guys here are American Legion, including Ken Callahan, and all these guys behind me. And Ken Callahan's a city employee. Chris Haynes is a city employee. Chris came up with an idea, why not a Veterans Hall of Fame? Hamilton Veterans Hall of Fame. So for 2019, that is our inaugural class. I think we have at least one person here in that class. I mean, Jack Kirsch might be here, but that is a group of Hamiltonians who served their time in various conflicts. They came home, they turned their swords into plowshares, and these gentlemen did some very great things in our city. And this is the way we're going to be able to recognize them, is on November 10th of this year at the Marriott at 1 o'clock. We're going to have a ceremony, and they are going to be recognized. And some are recognized posthumously because they were killed in action. But it is an honor to work with the American Legion and all these gentlemen. And of course, Dan Bates is on our committee as well. But the American Legion, Derwin Shands Post, is giving $10,000 of seed money for this program because it is so important. I think applause would be really good right now. I mean, $10,000 is going to go a long way. You're going to see each individual recipient get something as a memento, but also you're going to see on the wall of the city building each year, each class for the class of the Hamilton Veterans Hall of Fame. And that's the first year class. You could do a great book about that. But thank you very much, the committee, the American Legion. This is great for our entire town. Thanks, guys. Please consider joining the event, sponsoring it in some way, because you're going to hear a lot about it, and those folks are truly American heroes, and they're all from Hamilton, Ohio. I am done, except for introducing Joshua Smith. And as you walk around town, as you drive around town, where we're at today, if you go to our Business Enterprise Park, look around, because if it wasn't for Joshua Smith, what you see probably wouldn't be there. It has taken his creativity, his innovation, his capacity for abstract thought, and so many other things. But we truly have a Hall of Famer when it comes to city management. So Joshua, this is his 10th year with our city, and it's been 10 great years. Joshua Smith.
So you always stress out a little bit about how you open a talk to a very, very large group of people, and it does look even larger when you're standing right here. But the good news is Tyler, who is the GM from Tano's, literally just walked over to me and said, hey, we ran out of beer earlier. MBW has just restocked us. So that is the best news I probably can deliver tonight. So we already thanked some people, but I think it just needs to be said again. But Eileen, Bruce, Mark Murray, the chamber staff that put this together, thank you so much. This venue is outstanding. This is exciting. And we're going to talk about why this is so exciting compared to where we were maybe about 10 years ago. So as the mayor said, 10th State of the City address, and it's very surreal to be standing here at this 10th address because it seems like just yesterday, former chamber president Kenny Craig had tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, are you ready for your first State of the City address? I'm like, what's the State of the City? He's like, well, yeah, talking about 2 nights. I was like, uh-oh. So I went over to Ryan's one night, grabbed a beer. Larry Fear has happened to sit there, introduce himself to me. But it literally just seems like yesterday. The one thing I always worry about is I come to these, and especially after 10, is people even listen anymore? I mean, do I just sound like I'm screaming at the clouds? But then I had a very comforting thought, and that is people here tonight were to see the facility, to hear Sam Byler speak here in a few moments, but also to talk about and see firsthand what Chef Tano called an economic nuclear explosion. So I want to provide a little background, and then I want to announce a couple things I hope will get the crowd pretty excited. So after 10 State of the Cities, you tend to want to look back at where you started, and the participation I had in the first one, I remember the mayor talking, and with the city council, we really need to lay a foundation. You know, Hamilton was this amazing city built on these amazing industries, and for 100+ years thrived. And like a lot of post-industrial cities, we hit a rough patch, and we talked a lot about strategy. I can tell you 10 years into this that strategy is important, but the most important thing is people. The we is greater than me, the 17 strong logo. I really spent a lot of time thinking about that and preparing tonight's speech because Hamiltonians are our foundation. We have bricks and mortar buildings, we have exciting things happening, but for the people in this community, none of that happens. And you think about the neighborhoods and how 17 Strong has worked to mobilize all 17 neighborhoods and try to determine how we can best help them. Our volunteers in this community are second to none. Everything from the recent Operation Pumpkin to the River's Edge concert series, our ability to mobilize volunteers to help Hamilton truly is a sight to see. Our nonprofits, again, a huge part of what makes Hamilton successful today. Our small businesses, again, that's really what gets me excited. I come from a family of small business owners. My dad, who's here again with us tonight in the front row, his father owned 2 gas stations. My mom's father owned a jewelry store in a town very similar to Hamilton, in Muscatine, Iowa, on the Mississippi River. But small businesses truly are the economic engine. Every city typically has a couple large companies, and we're very thankful for those, but it's the accumulation of these small businesses that really make our economic engine move. And finally, City Council. You know, I've served with almost everyone in that picture for all 9+ years I've been here, several of them on there, maybe a little bit newer. being on a city council is not an easy task. We have 16 departments. We have a $300 million all funds budget. There's a lot of decisions you have to make. And let's just be honest, the building that we're sitting in that was purchased by city council in 2012 for $440,000 was not a popular decision by many. I can remember many people yelling at me on the street. I remember city staffers saying, why are we wasting money on buying an old paper mill when we have so many other needs? But council made a tough decision that it was important to secure 40-plus acres on our riverfront with 1 million square feet of building space and be able to control the future. And because they had that vision and the ability to do what they felt was right, here we are today sitting in this facility having a State of the City address. So to sum up that thought, Peter Drucker, management guru, once said that culture eats strategy for breakfast. I believe that now more than ever. Strategy, again, is very important. I think our council is very strategic. At the end of the day, if your employees, if your citizens, if your businesses do not buy into what you're doing, you will never be successful. I was reading a Winston Churchill biography in the last couple of weeks, and I stopped at his finest hour speech, and I read it a few different times, pulled out a notepad, wrote down several thoughts, and I put a question mark. Is this Hamilton's finest hour? Are we heading the right direction? And I tried to do the most honest assessment as possible. And to do that, I wanted to go back, and I started looking at the slides from the first couple of State of the City addresses. Within 13 months of starting, this facility announced that they were closing. Less than 3 weeks after they announced the closure of this facility, the former Beckett Mill, Mohawk Paper, announced their closing. And that was a huge blow. When you look at the physical size, the proximity of the buildings to the different neighborhoods, it was impactful. But the most large impact of all was psychological. How many people that are sitting in here tonight had a relative that worked at Champion or Beckett Paper Mills? A lot of hands in the air. It was difficult. By the time I arrived, we had already lost Mosler Safe. We lost Herring Hall Marvin. We lost so much of our industry. These two buildings, these two operations were the last remnants, truly, of our industrial past. And the psychological hit was big. And what happened with the closing of those jobs, the middle class, as the mayor called it, the impact was felt everywhere. The downtown, when I arrived in 2010, was shuttered. Main Street was struggling. And council, again, to their credit, knew we had to make some changes. So going back through the 3rd through the 9th State of the City addresses, there's a couple key takeaways. First and foremost, there was a definite focus on infrastructure in this community. When you think about the projects that have been built and made operational in the last decade, I think it's pretty incredible. You look at Meldal, the largest capital project, the largest capital investment in the city's history, became operational in the spring of 2016. South Hamilton Crossing, that was first mentioned in a newspaper article as a necessary improvement in 1911. 107 years later, it gets opened. Jack Kirsch is in the crowd with us tonight, and he can speak to this a lot better than I can, but when you have, at the time with him, you didn't even have an underpass, but thanks to him we have one. But you have 3 bridges over a river and 1 underpass. It's just common sense that traffic will get pinched because it has nowhere to go. We have made a lot of investments into the East High Corridor to improve traffic flow. We've done 3 intersections east of the river, again on High Street, knowing that we have limited ability because since you only have 1 underpass and now South Hamilton Crossing, traffic is still going to get pinched, but we worked on traffic efficiency by improving the intersections, the signalization. We opened up the main Eaton-Millville intersection just a few weeks ago. The main Serial-Haldeman intersection starts construction next year. Systematically, we've gone through a lot of these long-term issues, and we started fixing them. Markham Park, another big investment, capital investment, investing in Hamilton. The American Planning Association last year gave us the Great Places in America Award. Not only do you have Markham Park, you have Rivers Edge Amphitheater, combined over a $6 million investment into our downtown. You look at where our investment dollars have gone in the last 10 plus years, we've had 5 of our best years in terms of actual dollars being put back into the community. I don't care if you're a company, I don't care what you are, if you do not invest in yourself, you will not succeed. There was a focus on job creation. Fabian Schmall, president of Bilstein, is with us tonight. I remember arriving in 2010, they had 160 employees, and there was conversation about moving the company to Mexico. They have, to a factor of 5, increased their workforce. Fabian, as the mayor said earlier, incredible strategic thinker, but also an active person. I mean, they have built buildings, they have improved technology. What they've done, to me, is the model of our manufacturing in Hamilton. 80 Acres, the mayor talked about them. Influx talked about them. 2, in my opinion, of the most innovative companies in the state of Ohio reside in Hamilton, Ohio. Barclays, a building, again, affiliated with the paper industry that sat empty for how many years before we got Barclays to step in there and turn those lights back on. StarTech, Elder Beerman, we had a 160,000 square foot empty department store when I arrived in Hamilton, Ohio, and Core Fund, and all these entities, going back to we is greater than me, put these buildings back into effective use. But what really gets me excited, when you look at some of our companies that are growing in Hamilton, Kivak and Lindenwall, Matandi, I saw Frank Fearman, I know Bob Sr.'s with us tonight, Jack Kirsch, Pete Abner from Kirsch CPA, ODW Logistics in the bottom right-hand corner. The power of having these companies in Hamilton, spread out through Hamilton, is a benefit to High Street Cafe. I guarantee you that High Street Cafe probably gets more business from ODW and Kirsch CPA than almost, besides maybe the city building, anyone in downtown Hamilton. But the impact of that is incredible. Salvanini on the east side of Hamilton announced an $8.5 million investment, new employees. Hamilton Castor has been in Hamilton for over 100 years. Dave Lippert and the family, they had an opportunity to go somewhere else. They could have left Hamilton on Dixie Highway. They did not. They put a flag down. They said, this is our home for over 100 years. We're going to make an investment in Hamilton, $7.5 million, adding new employees. So the job creation piece for us has been huge. Enterprise Park, almost 500,000 square feet of new space, 2 new companies in the last 12 months. We've heard about 80 Acres, but we've not talked about yet is Infinite Acres. Ocado out of London, England, Priva out of Holland have created a joint venture with 80 Acres called Infinite Acres, a totally different company from 80 Acres, and their North American headquarters are in downtown Hamilton, Ohio. This is huge for us because this is replacing these jobs that we had lost over the last couple of decades, one at a time, and this is what we needed. 80 Acres investment goes outside of just the office jobs downtown. They took the old furniture store on South 2nd Street, put $4 million into it, and they turned it into a state-of-the-art grow facility. They have over $20 million being invested right now on the east side of Hamilton at our Enterprise Park. So if you're on Tylersville Road and you look at the first set of buildings or what's under construction, that is what you're looking at right there. That is where that's going, just north of Tylersville Road. So what does that mean for us? This means new energy. We needed the investment in the community, we needed the new businesses, we needed the job creation, and that's a photo. Chef Tano had to leave early. He was getting an award at the Cincinnati Rotary tonight, so I'm glad he's not here to see I use that. That was a selfie he took the day he found out that his liquor license was approved in Columbus. It's the same type of energy I think we felt years ago when the Hamilton Parks Conservancy was created to be laser focused on improving our parks, when the Core Fund was created to be laser focused on taking buildings in our downtown, that buildings that have been either empty or underutilized for decades and turning them into something productive. It's the same energy that Unsung Salvage and True West brought And I just want to say, I think the Carters and the Cannons are here tonight, that these small businesses, again, they could have opened a business anywhere. They chose Hamilton. And our small businesses, again, that seem to be growing by the month, again, that is where I feel our true power, our true resurgence is coming from. When you just look at all the new businesses that have opened, literally just even the last couple years, on High Street, Main Street, the off streets, to me, it's the foundation that we need. It's the people that are doing it, but it's the foundation that we need to keep leveraging that and digging further and further into Hamilton and making sure that Lindenwold, that Second Ward / Sika, that German Village is seeing that same type of development. North Second. I talked to a lot of people that say that the best thing that ever happened to them was when North Second Tap and Bottle opened up. I will not name names like Dave Jones or Jody Gunderson, but I'm not quite sure if they've worked a 40-hour work week in the last year or so, but Casual Pint. I've been down there a handful of times. You can barely grab a table on the weekend right now. Obviously, Hamiltonians are hungry for this, and the best part is it's always a hard sell on the front end, but once they open, the energy again that you see from these places, tremendous. My friends, Stephen and Jen Akis Smith, the Shift event, I know a lot of people in the room were there. It was in an unused part of the old Elder Bierman building a couple weekends ago. Unfortunately, I was out of town that weekend, but again, the energy, incredible. Municipal Brew Works. How can you not love what Municipal Brew Works has meant to downtown Hamilton? How can you not love the energy they brought? But more importantly, the fact they went and got more beer and reloaded us tonight. But seriously, I mean, this opening truly was the sense of place that I think we needed in downtown. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. When this idea first came across my desk, not my idea, I was wondering, was the time right? Is this the right location? I can tell you, I have a staff that are a heck of a lot smarter than I am because they said this has to happen. And because we have smart staff, it happened. Doug and Mary are with us tonight. 7 years, the drink has been open. And tonight, I'll be having a drink at the drink because I'm very nervous right now. I want to show you two different sort of maybe random developments. This is the Big B Coffee. So for those of you who remember where the car wash was on East High Street, very close to Jay's Furniture that was demolished, Mark Ayers and his daughter, they came up. I know they're in the crowd tonight. Mark owns that strip center where the new Wingstop was just built. So this will be going, this Big B Coffee will be going immediately next door. It's a drive-through coffee shop. It's important to talk about this because it's going to let me segue to my next thought. So on the far east side of town, you have the Big B Coffee. On the far west side of town, we have the Chipotle that just opened. But look at the map for a second. Everything that's in yellow is something that's happened in the past 12 months. Everything that's, I'm colorblind, I believe it's orange, should happen in the next, call it 24 to 36 months. This is a very powerful slide for a couple of reasons. One, the capital investment in our community is accelerating. Two, it is not clustered in any specific neighborhood or geographic area. So, what is our plan for the future? In the last 24 months, we've been working on Plan Hamilton, where we have engaged our neighborhoods, where we have talked to our residents to try to understand in 11 different areas, from transportation to future land use issues to the riverfront, what their desires were. We've engaged a riverfront landscape architect to help us create a master plan for one of our most underutilized assets. We've seen a lot of awards in the last couple years, which is good external validation of what we're doing. But we have issues in Hamilton. And typically the state of the city is more of a rah-rah, let's get excited. I really wanted to be a little bit more honest and raw at this, being the 10th one, about some of those issues. we're only as strong as a community as our weakest link. And we know we can go into many of our neighborhoods and they're struggling. We have blight. We have roads that need to be improved. And we literally have blocks that are teetering right now as we try to stabilize some of the properties where you've had a lot of longtime Hamiltonians living that want to stay, and they're questioning right now, should they? So how do we address that? How do we address that? Understanding that our strength lies in our people, what do we do with that? From a city perspective, we created the Quick Strike Team. The Quick Strike Team's mission is to get out as quickly as possible and get the graffiti off the walls, when someone dumps tires in an alley, when there's a bunch of mattresses that have been laying out for a week in someone's front yard. The Quick Strike Team is dispatched to take care of that so the neighborhoods don't have to look at that. 17 Strong was literally created in the last 4 to 5 years to put a framework around all 17 of our unique neighborhoods and ensure that we were giving them the proper attention. Literally in the last few months, to make sure that 17 Strong had the resources they needed, we created a Department of Neighborhoods, knowing that since we are only as strong as our weakest link, that if we do not do a better job in our neighborhoods, if we do not rally around our neighborhoods, if we do not get in and block by block remove blight and do the things that we need to be doing as a community, that we will not be where we want to be 10 years from now. In 1891, when Mosler Safe was convinced to move from Cincinnati to Hamilton, Ohio, there was a small group of people called the Hamilton Improvement Syndicate. I see Lee Parrish in the crowd tonight. I want to say Lee Parrish's grandfather, great-grandfather was one of those people that sat on the Hamilton Improvement Syndicate. Something else that we are working on right now, I think we've done a good job of recruiting companies. I think we've done a good job of recruiting small businesses. I want to do a better job going into the years, but you see Centrifuge in the upper right. Pete, Eric are here tonight from Centrifuge. The city of Hamilton has a board seat with Centrifuge. Dr. Crawford is here tonight with his wife, president of Miami University. We have been talking to Miami, we've been talking to Centrifuge. We want to do something. Back to the mayor's challenge about workforce issues. How do we work together in a very broad capacity to do something even more special than what we've done? And I would be remiss if I did not mention tonight that Jim McGraw from KMK is in the crowd. I have known Jim for almost 10 years now. Jim literally has started economic development organizations in Tampa, Florida, Charlotte, North Carolina. Anyone in Cincinnati that knows anything about economic development knows Jim McGraw. And I want to pass on to council tonight that Jim McGraw said to me before the State of the City started that your council has done a tremendous job, because when he came to Hamilton in 2005 and 2006 at the request of the Hamilton Community Foundation to take a look at Hamilton's economic development efforts, he said what this council has done in that time has been nothing short of incredible. So thank you, council, for that. So let's put it into numbers. What does exactly that mean? So in the last 7 years, we have seen $321 million growth in taxable payroll. That is an annual approximately $6.4 million that's coming into our general fund that wasn't in 2012. So investment in infrastructure, creation of jobs, new energy, it all comes back down to one thing. You have to pay for the core services. The average resident cares about one thing. If they dial 911, they want someone to show up, they want their street to be taken care of, they don't want the garbage piling on the side of the street. We have to pay for public services. A lot of the efforts that we've done has been around that. It's been how do we create that revenue? And again, I think that we have done a good job of that. So to come back to the Winston Churchill finest hour speech, what a tragedy if that moment finds this community unprepared or finds this community unqualified for that which could have been their finest hour. Is this our finest hour? It's like a baton change, but I think it is. No different than Jack Kirsch getting tapped on the back with the community leaders in the 1970s saying we have to open up Hamilton to the outside. We're stuck by all these railroad tracks. We don't have an underpass. We don't have an overpass. And Jack and his team putting together, and in 1983, opening the Kirsch underpass in that same vein. So how do we do that? It's the same thing I think we've talked about all night. It comes down to people, and if you want to break it down a step further, it's energy, persistence, and grit. If I had to give 3 words about my time in Hamilton, what I've seen from people in this crowd, what I've seen from our businesses, what I've seen from our volunteers, it comes down to that. It's that same grit as Ohio Casualty sat empty for so many years that has now seen over $6 million in investment. That Fretboard and Clybourne's announced they're opening the Fretboard Brewing and Public House on the corner of Main and B Street in the next couple months. That the Cafeo Hospitality Group announced today that at the intersection of Main and C Street, that they'll be opening up Billy Yanks. So for those of you that have ever been to the Incline Public House in Price Hill, that have ever been to Jefferson Social at the Banks, I think I saw Phil Montanus here also. So not only is that building getting a restaurant, those 6 apartments that have been underutilized or not utilized in the last couple decades will be market rate units next year. And what does market rate units look like on Main Street? There's a photo for you right there. In the former Hughes Pharmacy building, 12 units. You have 5 new businesses in that building. That is the model of where we're trying to take the city. An announcement tonight. A $50 million development directly across the street from Miami Hamilton. This is something that I think is not only going to be a huge boost for Miami, this is a big deal. This is in the northwest corner of Lindenwold. It's going to have housing, it's going to have retail, it's going to have office, possibly a hotel. But again, this is the culmination of the efforts. This is why, in my opinion, the focus had to be on infrastructure, it had to be on job creations, it had to be on stabilizing our basic services. But we're seeing the fruits of that labor now. And I can tell you one thing, in the 9+ years I've been here, the acceleration of interest is just speeding up. And again, this is something that you should see the dirt work happening literally this month and this under construction next spring. So coming to a conclusion here, I thought this photo was very powerful. When you look to the far left of the screen, you see what Markham Park used to be with an empty Mercy Hospital. The hotel in 2000, I think the photo was in 2007, was sitting empty. What it was the Mercy Hospital parking lot, which is now the Markham Apartments. It is powerful when you go from 2007 to 2010 to a photo that was taken at the end of 2018. That, to me, is better than trying to sit up here and explain what we're trying to accomplish. That photo right there tells us that we're making progress. So when we looked at the photo, when we talked about the impact of the factories leaving and what it did, as that economic impact trickled through our downtown and other areas, when you look at that photo and you see what we could have been and what we are now, this is where we're going. This is the momentum that we need to maintain and sustain, because this is what, when I talk to our residents, this is what I hear them say. This is what they want. So, thank you to our volunteers. Thank you to our small businesses. Thank you to our residents, because without you, none of this, not any of this exists. I didn't really come up with a closing. There is Hyde's Pies in the back. Thank you.
Well, good evening. I'm going to be very short and to the point. What I think many people heard tonight and you probably have heard it before, but I want to point out the incredible, I would say, performance on the part of your mayor, your current council members, and Joshua, and you see the results of the work they do. It's difficult work, and almost every project they undertake, some people like it and some people don't. But as you see with their confidence and determination, they carry forward. I gave a tour in here a couple of weeks ago. We came in that side door over there, and we got a little route we walked through, and the person I was giving a tour looked in this area, and she said, "Oh my gosh, this is really big." And I said, "Yeah, this is the lobby, all right?" And so we had a great tour after that. It was quite a surprise to her. But if you think about when you pulled in, you pulled up, or some of you pulled up to that big ditch that's outside. That's going to be the footer for the center line of the buildings outside there. When you look out there and all the way down to the far end, you'll see a big pile of rubble, and that's where a medical building will be located. And everything else from here down will be covered with buildings. Again, on my right side will be hardwood basketball courts, a baseball field. On the left side will be 90,000 square feet of event space. So we may play volleyball in there one day, there might be basketball the next, and then there might be a trade show shortly thereafter. It's very space that can be switched around and used in many, many different ways. And this is what we'll refer to as Mill 1. Across the street, along the river, is Mill 2. We'll have over 20 convention and event rooms, from about 900 people at rounds of 10 down to a 12-person boardroom. We'll have 235 hotel rooms there to support the convention and events, in addition to the sporting events that come in on the weekends. But what I want to point out that we've experienced here in Hamilton is with the city leadership, it's with the city staff and team, it's with the Community Foundation, and it's with all of the people that we've worked with, is they've developed a very strong culture, a culture of we can do this, and no fear in attacking the challenges ahead of them. It's a phenomenal municipal team. It's an unusual municipal team. And I think that the thing that culture leads to is core values. And core values is ultimately what drives an organization. It's what makes you strong as people. And at Spooky Nook, we have 4 core values that we work on, that we try to deliver on every day. And I think it's consistent with what we've seen happen here in Hamilton in many, many different ways. Our first one is make kindness contagious. We expect all of our employees to work together in a way that is kind toward each other. These are soft skills, I think, but you'll find that the results are very positive for a company. A second core value is see the work. We want our people to see the work. You know, if you're walking down the parking lot, don't walk past the napkin that's laying on the ground. Do your part to help everybody else in the jobs that they've got to do. Our third is to help others succeed. Our job, we think, is to help someone next to us to succeed. That's our employees, that's our team members, the peers that we work with. And the fourth one is be honest. Being honest is very important because it builds trust. And there is a big difference between truthfulness and honesty. Some people don't know that. Truthfulness is when what you say is factually accurate, right? But you might not have told everything that's important for me to make a decision. In an organization, nothing is more powerful than trust. And by being honest, we can build on that trust. We're very excited about being a part of the growth in Hamilton. We're honored to host you here at the lobby of the future Spooky Nook Sports and Convention Center complex. Really glad you could join us tonight. Really glad it's about 12 or 15 degrees warmer than it was last night, too. It was cold in here last night. Dan Bates asked me to mention that somewhere there are bricks from the mill. So if you have an interest in an old brick that is from the mill out here, you can check in with Dan and his team. There is a limited supply. It'll be first come, first serve. In addition to that, at the back wall are a number of renderings of either Mill 1 or Mill 2. Jonathan and Mackenzie are there. They'll be happy to answer questions and talk you through or point at the different areas and describe what we're going to be doing there. We're very excited about where we are. And I want to thank everybody for their support over the past 4 years. So I can tell you the first night I slept in the Marriott, nothing was across the street. Markham Park had not yet been built. And there are so many phenomenal things that are happening in this city that we're just honored to be a part of it and excited to be here. So thanks for joining us tonight, Dan and your team, Bruce and Eileen especially here on site. They're part of the construction team, did a fantastic job helping prepare, but Dan and his team organized all of this and pulled it together. There are a lot of people that have helped, and I'm very grateful to each of you. Thank you for attending. Appreciate you being a part of what's happening here in Hamilton and all of the excitement that's about to come. Have a great evening.